So hello, everybody. It is me, Demetra K, and I am sitting here with Donovan, the recovering Democrat Saadiq, and this is the Demetra K Show. It is also going to be on the podcast. You can see the various forms of podcasts on the bottom there on the crawler. And so today we are going to be talking about that of the ice cube effect. Now, what is the ice cube effect exactly? Well, I'm going to get into it shortly. Donovan, what say you before we do?
Hey, you guys, welcome to the podcast. Once again, Demetra K is out here doing this work and putting this work in. Again, happy birthday to Brother Phil. Phil has a birthday. Was it yesterday?
Yesterday, Monday.
Yeah, yesterday. It was yesterday. So again, happy birthday to Brother Phil. Brothers out there putting in the work. So let's acknowledge those folks who are actually putting themselves out there. Do us a favor. Excuse me. If you guys got a chance, like, share, and subscribe. We're on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Spreaker, and all your podcast formats. And if you get a chance, also go to YouTube and check out Demetra K on her platform there on YouTube. Like, share, and subscribe. Even become a member so you can get notified when Demetra be dropping that knowledge. So, Demetra, let's get into it and talk about.
So thank you, Donovan. So what we're going to do is talk about, is the ice cube effect ruining the relationship between the Democrats and Black men? Well, whatever could I mean by that? So the ice cube effect, I'm going to read it to you in just a minute. But as you guys may or may not know, Congresswoman Karen Bass is running for to be the LA mayor this year. And she's running up against that of billionaire developer Rick Caruso, who is a conservative. And some people say he's super conservative. He's conservative to the point of he wants to get tough on crime. And as far as dealing with the homeless situation in LA, because as you guys may also know, the homeless situation in LA, well, all over, but really in LA, it's bad. And so he wants to create some sort of like a tent city situation to house the homeless people. And they're saying Karen Bass wants to do something with the homeless, but nothing as austere. And they're likening it to that of what Trump did and really Obama did with the undocumented people, the children in the cages per se, right? So they're saying he wants to do something like that. Of course, he wants to put more police on the force. Okay, so what is this ice cube effect? Karen Bass is having a hard time garnering votes from Black men. Now, it is also said that Snoop endorsed Rick Caruso. He says, "You have my full support." And Clarence Avant, the music mogul, who unfortunately his wife was murdered not too long ago, he also endorsed Rick Caruso. Okay.
The recovering Democrat endorsed Rick Caruso.
So Donovan endorsed him as well. Mm-hmm. And so this particular writer for the LA Times, she likened that to the ice cube effect. And so let me go ahead and read to you what she said really quickly. It's a long article, but I'll start here. So she says, instead, despite strong and constant support from Black women, the poll found an erosion among Black voters overall, led by men. So she says, the question is why? Is it just sexism or perhaps a related desire to uphold the patriarchy, given that Bass would be the first woman to be mayor of LA? It can't be racism. No, I believe the answer has to do what I'm calling the ice cube effect. If you recall, shortly before the 2020 presidential election, the Los Angeles rapper helped draft the progressive plan for Black America. He tried to get the Biden-Harris campaign to adopt it and was told to wait. And he's still waiting, by the way. Yep. And also driven by good intentions and hubris, he talked with the Trump administration officials about the plan instead, drawing an avalanche of criticism, especially from Black women, appalled that he would even consider working with them. Ice Cube explained that although he hadn't paid attention to the politics in a long time, he acted because Democrats weren't doing anything to help Black men and therefore didn't deserve any loyalty for votes if Republicans were willing to do better. So the quote was, every side is the dark side for us here in America. He put it at the time. They're all the same until something changes for us. They all lie and they all cheat. All right. And so that's why she's calling it the ice cube effect, because as you guys also know, Ice Cube, as she said, was raked over the coals. As Martin Payne's mama said, he was taken here and he was taken there by everybody, black women, everybody was calling Ice Cube raccoons and everything because he simply wanted to take the contract with Black America to both parties, and Trump was the one that took him up on it, and Biden and Kamala said, well, wait till we get in there, and he's still waiting. Now, in all fairness, they did send Kamala to talk to him, but he says, no, I don't want to talk to Kamala. Y'all said I was going to talk to Trump. Don't send, somebody else.
Biden.
Yeah, that really has no power, so that never happened. But black men, and I'm going to read you another thing of black, because, they talked to several black men. Mm-hmm. Now, it said that the black men who were surveyed in Los Angeles in regards to voting for Bass or Caruso, half of the black men who were eligible to vote, I guess, said that they were going to vote for that of Rick Caruso. Mm-hmm. Right now, you guys also know that overwhelmingly black people vote Democrat. So it says, and then most of the men surveyed said that they would support Rick Caruso. Now, this is black men voters. Now, the other thing is this. Now, we also hear that the black woman is the backbone of the Democratic Party.
Of course, they beat that into our heads.
But as I always say, the black man wasn't that far behind the black woman in helping get Biden and everybody else Democrat into office. But that is the lie that they tell. So some of the men that they interviewed, and this one here says, you can work with your wife. You can work and your wife can earn. It's kind of messed up. You can work and your wife can, or your children can work. The dogs can work. The rats and the roaches even working. And you still cannot afford to stay in a studio apartment in Los Angeles. So another guy also said, it's the same guy. He says, and when was the last time you heard a politician say black man? When they think of the black community, they think of black women or black children. They don't really think of us.
Right.
And so let me see here. Someone else said something, but y'all get the point. So black men, and we've heard this even before this article came out, black men are feeling disenfranchised by the Democratic Party. It's like, y'all don't talk to us. Y'all run around talking about the black woman is the backbone of the Democratic Party. We're going to do this for black women this, black women that. But when it comes to black men, we're just there. Y'all don't cater to us. Y'all don't talk to us. Not that the Democrats really do anything for black women, but they use black women to, make it seem like, well, if the black woman is voting, then we must be good, right? And so we're going to have this discussion, Donovan and I, to see if the Ice Cube effect is a real thing. And is this not only a litmus test for Karen Bass, but also for the whole Democratic establishment in regards to black men? So, Donovan, what say you?
You brought up some good points with that article, and I really appreciate you doing that. I do endorse Rick Caruso, even though I don't live in LA. But when people ask me politically, why wouldn't I? The Democratic Party hasn't done a damn thing for me. So I have nothing to lose. Now, in regards to Karen Bass, how many of you guys know Karen Bass's late husband was Hispanic? She has been endorsed by a lot of Hispanic organizations, which, like I said, that's politics. It doesn't matter. She has a daughter that is predominantly identifies as Hispanic. Now, you can love who you want to love and do what you want to do, but isn't it funny how Karen Bass was up there when they were getting the Dreamers Act and all that other stuff, getting it done for the Hispanic community, right? That's fine. That's fine. You go ahead and do that because you got a daughter that is Hispanic and you have a husband that's Hispanic. But God damn it, when are you going to start doing something for your own people? That's my question. So she's running for the mayor of LA. And a lot of people that don't think about this. You've got New York, Chicago, Los Angeles. What do those three cities have in common? And let's even throw Houston in there, because Houston is the fourth biggest city in the United States. They're all run by Democrats, hardcore. Those are all hardcore Democratic cities. Now, all this homeless that is going on in these major cities, half of the homeless population in all of these cities is black. Wait. Not so fast. There's more. Karen Bass is running for the mayor of Los Angeles. How many of you guys are aware that the black flight out of California leaves Los Angeles with only 6% of representation in Los Angeles. So how the hell do you expect to win just based on the black vote, which she isn't what she's counting on? But here's the thing, even with 6%, that could be enough to put Caruso over the top. So if the 3%, half and half, let's go half women, half black men. If 3% of those black men support Caruso, it's curtains for Karen Bass. It would be possibly curtains. They have done absolutely nothing, even until today. Student loan debt came out today. Joe Biden wants to hold off on doing it until the end of the summer. Once again, the carrot stick that the Democratic Party uses. And speaking as a black man, I know we're a little slow, but I didn't think all of us took the short bus to school. Black men have been disenfranchised by the Democratic Party since the Clinton years. Isn't that when Master Joe wrote the crime bill? Isn't that when Bill Clinton signed it? And at least Bill Clinton came out and said that was a major mistake. But everything's about politics, and everything is put on our backs as a litmus test on if something should work and if it shouldn't work. It is estimated over 1 million black men were incarcerated or under some kind of judicial system in the 1990s alone, and some of them are still incarcerated. Where's the compensation for that? How many families has the Democratic Party destroyed outright? We know what the Republicans and the Democrats did to us in the 80s with the crack epidemic. So, I mean, the Democratic Party hasn't given the black man any reason to vote for them. Okay, you got Ketanji Brown. She's going to be on the Supreme Court. That isn't helping black people. You're uplifting all of these black women that do absolutely nothing for the black community. As a black man, I'm going to say this. I don't care if you're half black, half Asian. I don't care if you're a black woman. I don't care if you're whatever. You got some black in you and you don't do for your damn people. That's the problem.
Absolutely. So it should also be said that 13% of the voter electorate is black. So to your point, black men deciding, and they said a lot of the black men are just like, we ain't going to vote. It doesn't make us any difference who we vote for. And the other thing too is, they're trying to evoke that of Rick Caruso being very conservative and that, he wants to be tough on crime and, deal with the homeless in an austere manner. Even with all that being said, because black men suffer the most with these tough on crime policies, right? So even with that being said, that's not enough to scare black men into showing up to the polls for Karen Bass, right? They're like, what difference does it make? Because we've got our ass handed to us under the Democrats. We've got our ass handed to us under the Republicans. In fact, we got our ass handed to us probably worse in modern times under the Democratic Party, like you said, with that Bill Clinton. Joe Biden was there for all of that, the author of every major and minor crime bill since 1976. And so even with that scare tactic going on, Rick is going to try to make it tough on y'all. This hell is almost like, it's already tough on black men. So like I said, even with that wasn't enough to scare black men to say, you know what, let's go on and vote for Karen. Now, they're also trying to say that, Karen has been there, in lockstep with the black and brown community. Well, it's like, let's take it back a little bit. Those of y'all don't know who Karen Bass is. She is a congresswoman currently, and for whatever reason, probably more money and more something going on.
That's all politicians. They go there to enrich themselves with their...
Yeah, she's running for mayor, and so she also sits on the Congressional Black Caucus. So when you ask yourself, okay, when she says, and her people are saying, she's been there for black and brown people. Well, she might have been there for brown people, but she hasn't been there for black people. And again, go to her record for the Congressional Black Caucus and see what she's helped do for specifically black people. Now, the Black Caucus, even though in their about the Congressional Black Caucus, they say they help everybody, but then they got the name black in their title. So if you're in doubt about Karen Bass, look at her congressional record in regards to black people. So, if she's not doing nothing for black people there, she ain't going to go do anything for black people in LA, or, as far as being the mayor, because the LA is predominantly Hispanic. And so what happened was, and this is kind of like the Democratic playbook that kind of backfired. Y'all saw when they was trying to get all the Hispanics over here, figure out loopholes to get them over here and bypass the things that Trump has set in place to get them over here legally. Well, they were planning on using them for, a voter base, but that backfired. And so now it's like, oh, hey, black man. Hey, big head. Hey, black man. How you doing? It's like, no. Not so fast.
Not so fast.
Y'all showed us the door. You showed us your ass. You showed us everything, but something tangible. And now you want us to show up? Like they said, we good.
Right. And like you said, if people would actually do their homework on all of the congressional Black caucus, Kamala Harris, their voting record is there. And it will show you, on my podcast, I talk about it all the time. Black politicians ain't shit. And I say that for the simple fact that the icon, John Lewis, I got so much flack for revealing John Lewis's congressional record. And that's just a fact, because why did these people come at me? I'm just putting out what he hasn't done for Black people. But how dare you talk about an icon like John Lewis? But back to Karen Bass and these pivotal elections. By the way, today is primary day here in California. So the elections are going all over the place right now, and everybody's kicking in doors and stuff. This is another reason why I decided to endorse the other candidate in the LA race. How many of you guys are aware that Karen Bass was the lead Democrat in regards to negotiations of qualified immunity? She was the lead Democrat on that. Remember, they told you guys, get your Black asses out the street, and you get us Georgia, and you put those senators in those seats. We can't do anything because we don't have any power. But if you give us Georgia and you get your asses out those streets, we can do something for y'all Negroes. Paraphrasing. That's basically what they said. You give us the power, we will get qualified immunity. Quoting qualified immunity. We will get it done. 9 months go by. Karen Bass is the lead Democrat in the negotiations. They didn't get it done. What did Karen Bass said? We tried. And that's it. You haven't heard anything since. She just walked away from an issue and a problem that would be so beneficial to every Black person in the United States. She just walked away from it, made a statement. I tried. And now she has the nerve to try to run for mayor of Los Angeles like she has done something in Congress. She couldn't even get qualified immunity negotiated and done so that Massa Biden could go ahead and sign it. We have the House, we have the Senate, and we have a so-called Democratic president, and she couldn't get the bill done.
Yeah, and so Black people, Black voters, as the article also pointed out, what's the difference between Biden and Trump? And as it also pointed out, the difference in the Senate, the slim margin that the Democrats have now. And so it's like the Democrats have continued to take Black people for granted, continue to say, thanks for your vote, Negroes. See you when we need you again, right?
It's like that meme where they push the Black person out of the car and the car keeps going.
So now what we're seeing is Black people really starting to wake up, really, due to new Black media and everybody else who are just like starting to wake up. You got your Uncle Luke out there from Two Live Crew,
who also helped Biden get into office and then realized,
yeah, he admitted that he was used by them and said, damn, y'all didn't even invite me to the White House. And so since then,
cookout.
Yeah, he's been on a rampage, and I won't say rampage, but he's really been using his Twitter feed to call them out, saying, y'all giving all this money to everybody else. Yeah. What about my people? And so he's done the 360. So you're seeing a lot of other people really starting to wake up, and, a lot of entertainers, some rappers who are starting to say, well, damn, So, but again, this is what happened when you take people for granted and think, oh, well, they'll always be here, because we have always been here as Black people. The only
group that walks like a block. 98% of Black people as a group vote Democrat. 98%. No other group does that. None.
Right. So we've always been here for the Democrats as Black people, no matter what. Vote blue, no matter who, and this, that, and the other. And so they are starting to lose us. And really, like I said, black men weren't that far behind black women as far as voting for the Democrats. And so to completely ignore black men was a huge mistake. But this wasn't the first time, because even during the election of Joe Biden, black men were saying, hey, what about us? What about us? And they were like, even had people like Simone Sanders tell black men that, shut up and be quiet when, nobody's speaking to you. And I want to say she was talking to Uncle Luke, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. So, it was really a big mistake for them. And these little elections, when I say little, I'm not talking about like on a national level, like the mayoral race and things like that. It's really, to me, a litmus test as to what's to come, because no longer are black people asleep as we used to be. Like, we just go into the polls, okay, I'm gonna vote for Democrat. Now we're like, what's in it for me?
Right. Well, you got to remember, a lot of us, for since the civil rights era, people, we vote because that's the way our parents voted. It's almost like we're zombies. We just do it because we just do it. If you were born a Baptist, you're a Baptist, and you don't know why. Now everybody's seeing, especially a lot of these millennials, big ups to these millennials, they are seeing the future. They're not living day to day. They're seeing, well, what's going to be happen to me 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road. If there are no jobs now and AI is taking all my jobs, the student loan debts, get the student loan debt off of me so I can go do other things and, and get a good credit score or whatever the deal is. Big ups to the millennials for not following in the footsteps of their grandparents, because the grandparents, that generation, they just loved symbolism. They love the fact, oh, we got a crown act, girl. Now we can wear our hair. We've always been able to wear your hair any way you wanted to. Now, the corporation might get rid of you, but you can wear your hair any way you want to. You just can't work for that corporation if that's their whatever standard, whatever. All these little symbolic victories, they make it, the civil rights era people make it seem like, that is something. It's like having hog maws during the slave days. What's a big thing down in the South? Chitlins. Malcolm X used to say that, we having chitlins, right? Malcolm said, you got to call it what it is, guts. You got what he left. And you have a lot of Negroes that are happy with whatever the master leaves. But these younger generation X, Y, and millennials, we're not taking it anymore, because we're seeing that there has been no forward progress in 60 years. We are worse off now than we were 60 years ago. Yes. Has the black boule risen? Yeah. 30% of black people, they're doing fairly well. Great. You're educated. A lot of black people have degrees. Demetra has degrees. I have degrees. But there are no jobs. Something is amiss here. And the problem is, we have black people that are sitting in Congress that have been there for 30 plus years, like your Karen Basses, like your Maxine Waters, and they're complacent. The word is complacent. They're thinking, hey, I'm so-and-so, you're going to reelect me, whatever. Why are you sitting there if you are content to do absolutely nothing for your people? It's crazy.
Well, and I want to give credit to the woman who wrote the article, Erica D. Smith of LA Times. She is the columnist of that article, Erica D. Smith. So, I mean, I don't think that they're complacent. I just think they don't give a damn. Because when you're complacent, you're just like, there's some complacency going on there. Mm-hmm. Because complacency is kind of like when you're just kind of used to doing things, the same old thing. There's no rise and no fall to it. It's just, But I think they're more or less like, we got them. Why do we haven't been having to do anything for black voters or black people. So why do we need to start now, right? So we've already got them. We got a guaranteed voter. We don't have to do anything for them. And so we'll just continue to ignore them. We'll, even as the Congressional Black Caucus, go do stuff for everybody else in their faces, and they'll continue to come back and vote for us. They won't ask Maxine Waters to do anything but reclaim her time. You won't ask Karen Bass. You won't ask Barbara Lee. You won't ask Cory Booker. You won't ask any of the Black Congressional Caucus, whatever, to do anything significantly, because it's with us, oh, well, they black. We know I'm voting I got to vote for them.
Well, they're black and we have no other options. There's no other major parties. We have no options. So we just think it's just one or the other. And you can't be a Republican. Oh, God, how dare we? Oh, my, no.
Yeah, so, and we've kind of been taught that as well. If they black, then we should vote for them because we got to support them because they're black.
Bullshit.
But it's like, some black people in positions of power are worse than the white people because they're going to show the massa, oh, don't worry, watch this. If you think you was tough on them, wait till I get a hold of them, because they feel like they always got something to prove. But I don't think it's as much complacency as we just don't give a damn. We've got them on the hook already. They're not going to do anything differently because we've taught them, and they've learned through all this time that the Democrats are the party of the people. They're the party of black people.
Union, the people, everybody. They're for everybody.
Yeah, well, but now as Malcolm X also said, the chickens have come home to roost with the Democratic Party. And, in regards to Ice Cube, y'all know I love Ice Cube fan and all that. And
no, you don't. Stop it. Your man is Most Def. Stop it.
I mean, listen, I like them all, okay? Shout out to Elder Barge. His birthday was on the 4th as well.
Yes. I wanted to remind you of that.
Yes.
Okay, good.
But, Ice Cube took a beating. He took a beating
from black women. From black women mostly.
He took a beating because he spoke out for black people. Now, Ice Cube was worth over $140 million. He don't need to be talking about none of this. Ice Cube could have went to his gated community and did what people in the gated community do, right, with all that money. Mm-hmm. But he decided, he says, well, for one, I want to leave it better off for my children than we have it now. And another thing, neither party is doing anything for us. So whoever wants to look at this contract with Black America, to which he spoke to a lot of black economists, including that of Dr. Claude Anderson. So it wasn't like he was just sitting up like he writing rap lyrics and saying, let me just
or a screenplay.
It was well thought out. And so, Ice Cube took a beating. And like you said, it was mostly from black women. And so on the other side of that, you saw black men who were watching that, and black men voted more for Trump than black women. But black women, I think black men was 20% and 8% of black voters, rather, women voters voted for Trump. So I say all that to say is that black men watched black women, especially in high places, I guess, eviscerate that of Ice Cube because he was asking for something for black people. And so that put a bad taste in black men's mouth. Like, wait a minute. Because like you said, y'all not even talking to black men. And even when he went on Queens, Fox Soul,
Cocktails with Queens.
And even with, that of Patrice Cullors of when Roland Martin tried to ambush him, by having Patrice Cullors on there. One of them heifers from Black Lives Matter. What about black women? He said, well, it's for black people. But why do we always got to hijack the conversation that I'm having from black people to, well, what are you having it for black women? Like, the Democrats cater to y'all the most. So it's like black men, even if I was talking to black men can't get something specifically. Y'all got to try to hijack that too?
Well, no. See, I'm gonna have to correct you there. Black men do get something specifically. When they talk about the crime bill and the problems within the black community, that's the black issue. The Democrats are the only group that talks about crime. Like, that's the black issue to solve. And of course, there are more black men incarcerated than any other group of people in the United States, right? And of course, number two in the fastest rising group is black women. They are number two, rising into the prison industrial complex system. And they think that is the black issue, that all of us are criminals. And that's the only thing that can be solved, when we know we need resources, we need money, we need land, we need mental health issues and all other stuff. No, when it comes to the Democratic Party, we are criminals, and our issue is the justice system.
Yeah, well, it's probably true for black people in general, but yeah, I mean, but I think, and now so what they're saying also is that Karen Bass is going to be forced into a runoff election because
without a doubt,
she didn't win overwhelmingly during the primaries. I think it was 38% to that, her 38% to that of 32% for Rick Caruso, and so that's.
I don't mean to cut you off. I really don't mean to cut you off. But isn't that something, when she catered and got all these endorsements for the Hispanics, and yet they didn't vote for her? Isn't that something?
Well, I read an article not too long ago saying that they like her, but what again,
she's not La Familia. She's not La Familia when it comes down to it. That's how they get down.
Well, Rick Caruso, I don't know what he is, and I also know the Kardashians endorsed him, and people were mad about the Kardashians endorsing him. But I think people are voting their interest, which is what you should do. And again, like I said, Snoop endorsed them, Clarence Avant. They big time players, not players like
the recovering Democrat. I'm on the Demetra K show. That I mean, you get my endorsement. That's big. That's huge.
Yeah, so they've endorsed them, and so it does speak volumes when you have people like that endorse. So that of course, like another guy in the article said, so so we supposed to vote for her because she's a sweet lady. Like that sweet lady, what does that do for us because she's a sweet lady? Is she sweet? Great, but what are we going to get from going to the polls and putting a check mark by her name? Is she going to make life easier for Black men, or is she going to continue to ignore Black men and go and help everybody else? Hell, they don't even do for Black women as much. But I think Black women, unfortunately, are caught up more on the symbolic, notion of it. Taking somebody like Maxine Waters, no one can say what Maxine is doing to move the ball for Black people.
Nothing
outside of her sound bites. I'm reclaiming my time, and don't mess with me.
Other than lining her pockets as the chairman of the banking committee, where she was censored because she and her husband got caught up in some kind of pay for play incident in the 90s. But speaking of another thing with Karen Bass and other congressional Black Congress members, every time a bill is signed, I always look at the picture of who was with the president when he's signing that bill. When the Asian bill was signed, go look at the picture and see who was with him when he signed that bill. When they gave $60 billion to the Indian tribes, go look at the picture at who was with them supporting that bill getting signed. And you're going to see Karen Bass, you're going to see Sheila Jackson Lee, you're going to see Barbara Lee, you're going to see all of these Black women sitting right there. And again, Joe Biden gave us a BS executive order on federal law enforcement reorganization that has no power and can be repealed within the next administration. Look at the same people that are there. They take this picture so they can go back to their constituents and say, see what I did? I'm so supportive. And we're the champion of everybody and all this other stuff. But you have not brought home one damn legislative bill that is going to help your own people. And we are not making it out here, y'all. We're just not. I don't care what you say. I can't find a Biden sexual anywhere, Demetria. Have you seen any? It's been 2 years. And I can't find anybody that will outwardly say, I support Joe Biden. In this election cycle, as we're getting ready to do the midterms, it has projected in the House alone, 70 Democrats are either leaving, retiring, or looking for other interests. And that usually does not happen when their party controls the White House. Why are these people leaving? That Negro Cedric, whatever his name, from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Mr. Advisor, he left the door this month. He's gone. But look at the damage that he's done or didn't do for Black people. Simone Mamie Sanders got the door. They're running for the exits. You want to know why? Because they're waiting for their next job opportunity. They don't want to be a tie to Joe Biden and this disastrous administration. So they're jumping ship while the getting is good. They're going to lay low for 2 years, and then they're going to pick their heads up for their next job opportunity.
Well, I mean, they can do that, but the damage is already done. And I always like to tell people to look at that of Step and Fetch It. Lincoln Perry was his name. And, he was called the laziest Negro in the world. And he was called that. That was his stage name. He was given that by white people, white supremacists, obviously in the early, I think it was 1930s, 1920s. And he basically sold out the image of Black people for money. In fact, he became the first millionaire actor in America. So that's how much money white people paid him for him to
perpetrate the stereotype, right? To perpetrate the stereotype.
They paid him all that money to do that. And then when it was all said and done, after white people were done with him, black people was like, nah, man, we good on you too, because look what you did. Like, we already having a hard time, and you out here, you know, perpetrating the laziest man in the world and all this other stuff. So I say all that to say is, while they might be jumping ship, black people remember all the sand dancing they were doing to get Joe Biden in there, tackling people on the stage and telling people to shut up, and, you know, all this other stuff, and ignoring what black people were saying, dragging Ice Cube down and canceling. People gonna remember that stuff. So you may leave, but what they also fail to realize is, and Carter G. Woodson talked about this a little bit in the Miseducation of the Negro. You could go hang out with white people and try to do things white people do, but when it's all said and done, you're gonna have to come back to your community.
Correct.
Is your community gonna welcome you back? That's like when Omarosa was in the White House with Trump and she left, oh, I'm my people. Us? We don't people out. Didn't you just say you were gonna be bowing down to Trump and all that? But when they literally threw you out the door, now all of a sudden we your people. So when you sell black people out and you go get your butter biscuits, and when the butter biscuits dry up and you try to come back, black people like, we good. Nah. And that's why too, I think with Simone Sanders, who I have not seen her show. But
a matter of fact, her show, I don't know if they pulled her show, because I didn't see any reviews on it last weekend or the weekend before. The very first show, the ratings were so low. And I'm not hating on the woman. I'm just saying it's funny how they show a black woman's ratings or a black person's ratings when they're super low. And then like, who's that Megan Fox? Who's that? What's that girl, Megan Kelly? They didn't show her ratings, and they kept her on TV for what, a year or two? So,
well, I mean, I'm not sure, you know, about the ratings. I haven't heard exactly. I heard they were
yeah, it's
low.
terrible. It's terrible.
I heard they were low, but the point that I was making is, you know, if your people, black people, liked you, then we probably would have checked it out. But since you did so much to discourage black people, specifically black men, telling black men to shut up and all this other stuff, we're not going to watch. We're not interested in what you have to say, because you were so nasty to black people. And you think white people want to sit up and watch your black bald head ass talk about, you know, whatever you talk about. I mean, I know that's kind of mean, but it's the truth.
Well, she got her teeth fixed.
So one thing white people going to do is show you who they are. Listen, negress, we need you. I don't care if you got to tackle a mug on the stage, if they're coming after Joe Biden. But when your job is done here, we ain't gonna pay no more attention to you. So
there's an old saying,
because we were not interested after. I mean, like, I don't have any need to watch Simone Sanders, especially since she talked to black people that way.
Yeah, there's an old saying that white supremacists always say: once they are done with their tools, they break them. So, you know, if they're once they're done using it, they break them. So, I mean, I don't know how she expects to come back from this. I mean, all these bootlicks, I mean, you see them going to the door, and a lot of them are still, like I said, I don't understand why Sheila Jackson Lee is still running for office. She has nothing to show for it. Why is Barbara Lee still running for office? They have nothing to show for it. Okay, put it like this. The emperor has no clothes on. Would you agree with that, with the Democratic Party and how black people are now perceiving them, and these new millennials and people like that? The emperor has no clothes on.
Expound on that.
We now see that the emperor has no clothes on. They have been exposed. A lot of people are waking up. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that most definitely people are waking up. And I think people are really realizing, because I mean, I see people that, you know, especially during the 2020 election on, you know, my social media. I'm not really on there much anymore, but I see them trying to backpedal away from that hard line that they drew in the sand. Oh, you know, vote blue no matter who. I'm riding with Biden. Now it's like, I don't even see you very much, but when you do, you kind of try to make a good point or whatever. But in regards to, you know, your Sheila Jackson Lee's and even your Jim Clyburn, he's running and he's 1,000 years old.
Right.
They're running because of the power. They're running because they are punch drunk with power. And there's this saying, there's never enough of more. You are 1,000 years old and you're trying to continue to run. It can't be about money, because I'm sure you have more money at this point than you can spend.
Exactly.
So what else could it be other than power? I am going to be setting the tone. And think about somebody like Jim Clyburn. He set the tone for Biden to win, which also set the tone for Black people, because while we watching everybody else get stuff, Black people have got nothing. And Jim Clyburn even said, "Oh, I don't care about qualified immunity right now, as long as the infrastructure bill gets passed." Now,
for white people,
within that infrastructure bill, it had a lot of money set aside for everybody else, but nothing specifically for Black people.
Right.
So I say that to say, yeah, it's the power of I can make things happen. So, and after a while, it becomes it's just like you're a drug addict, right? Like you don't know how to kick the habit of being power, be addicted to the power.
Yeah. So let me ask you this: that the same power that Biden had to, not Biden, Uncle Ruckus Clyburn had to galvanize people to get Biden in office. Do you think he still has that power now today? If another Democrat in 2 years, let's say another Democrat is running, do you think he has the same power then upcoming than he did when he got Biden in there? Because I don't think he would have the same influence that he has. I think his influence has seriously waned.
Yeah, and most definitely because people have started to pull his coattail. You know what I mean? Or everybody else's coattail to that of Jim Clyburn, because a lot of people really didn't really hear or know about Jim Clyburn. I mean, you have to kind of be in politics up until he became the kingmaker, if you will, in helping Joe Biden get into office. And so when that went forth, oh, he was instrumental in South Carolina helping to get in office, and people start to say, okay, who is this cat? And so, of course, then you have new Black media who are saying, okay, this dude is no good. He's no good for Black people. He has nothing for Black people. He continuously does nothing for Black people. In fact, he gets mad when people ask him, hey, what about us?
Hey, wait. What the hell y'all fucking with me for? What y'all fucking with me for?
So you have Marcel Dixon.
Brought out a lot of stuff.
Yeah, he's running. So why not give him a chance? You know, he's unapologetic about being Black and helping.
But he's gay. But he's gay.
So what? I mean, a lot of them are. We just don't know about it.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Let's keep it real.
Those secret societies, right.
And who he sleeps with, I don't care who he sleeps with.
It doesn't matter. If he's going to do for his people, hey.
Yeah, if he's helping Black people, I don't care who he's sleeping with. I mean, because most of the people who walking tall and talking loud, we don't know who the hell they sleeping with. And usually when it comes out, it's like, word? So who cares?
The audacity of WAP. The audacity. I'm 83 years old and I am down with Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion. The audacity.
And Maxine wasn't needing her ass whooped for that one.
But see what I'm saying? She wants to be relevant with people that she should be a great grandmother to. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you're supposed to be setting the example. You the matriarch not only of your family, but hell, of our community. Supposed to be.
Supposedly.
And you sitting up there co-signing WAP with Megan Thee Stallion. I mean, it's like, sis. I should say auntie, because you're louder than me. Auntie, I would have just said I'm gonna pass on that interview because I have some differing opinions. And I really don't want to, say anything.
Muddy the waters.
Trouble. Yeah, so whatever. So I'm pass, but I surely wouldn't have been up there talking about the audacity of WAP, and I think it's great. And like, come on, man. That don't even sound right.
He's talking about the audacity of WAP, and during that time, we were trying to get qualified immunity passed. And she's talking about the audacity of WAP.
Yeah, well, that's what we keep putting in office, though. Yeah. We keep allowing her and other people like her. And listen, I don't believe in ageism because I don't think you're too old to do anything. But I do think that there are ideas that are too old to continue trying to be relevant. And so what I mean by that is you have your people like your Maxine Waters, even Karen Bass. Karen Bass ain't no spring chicken. So you have people like that who are trying to use antiquated ideas, in modern times and modern situations. I mean, you got millennials who are just like, I'm good. I'm not going to work. I'd rather just figure it out because, for one, I'm not going to be able to buy a house. More than likely, I'm saddled with a student loan debt. I can't even if these minimum wage jobs y'all got out there, I'm not going to, I still would need to work a day and a half to fill up my tank now because if you haven't heard, gas is going up and up and up, and it's going to continue to go up. And so people, they're not reaching out to the young people. They still want to have that civil rights mantra and idea.
I march with Martin Luther King.
And we still want to march, right? As we still want to get out there and lock elbows and march. And
as long as you're marching, they're not worried about you. Go ahead and march. They don't care.
Yeah, so we still want to lock arms and do that kind of stuff. And it's like, but how's that work for us as Black people? And so, when y'all was civil rights and all that other stuff, that kind of stuff worked for y'all. Y'all got what y'all wanted, which was to integrate with white people. But people now, including our generation, we're like, we haven't seen any balls move at all since then. But they want to continue to put those same ideas from 60 years ago onto today's time. So it doesn't work.
Can I push back? Can I push back on that, Demetra?
Sure.
It sounds like your generation and the millennials are ungrateful for the sacrifices that we made. All the walking, and I got my ass beat on that Jerry Pettis Bridge and all this other stuff. Y'all sound so damn ungrateful for the sacrifices we made. How dare you guys? Y'all should be thankful. Because if it wasn't for us, you wouldn't be able to go to Walmart and give all your money to the white man. So let me push back on that. Doesn't that sound a little bit ungrateful if you were in their shoes? Isn't that what they would be hearing from some of the things that the new Black media is saying?
Well, I mean, it's a matter of perspective. Ungrateful in regards to what? I mean,
the sacrifices that they made and all because you got to remember, Demetra, all those civil rights people died so that you can vote.
That's a lie. They died so we can get something for the vote. They didn't die so we could just do the act. They died so we could go in there and get tangibles. Whether we like it or not, the civil rights generation, they got tangibles, and their tangibles was to be able to do what white people do and do it with white people. Mm-hmm. And so when you say, am I ungrateful? I don't think ungrateful is the word, mm-hmm. but I think that at this point in time, it's fair to ask you guys to sit your asses down. Sit down and we talk about this all the time. Our generation, we're 50s. We're in our 50s.
Right. We're middle-aged. We're middle-aged.
Yeah, but the time to reign is even past us.
It's past us, yeah.
It should be passed down to our kids, And so you still have these, and I'm trying to be nice, these seasoned people. Yeah, these seasoned people still sitting on, in power.
On the throne.
Yeah, they're sitting in power, and it's like, y'all haven't changed anything. Y'all just keep on remixing, it's like a bad disco song, right? You just keep remixing the song and saying, okay, we're going to do it this way. It's the same way, but we're just going to say it a different way. And get your asses up.
Same steps. Yeah.
Get your fishing pole and your knitting needles or whatever it is you're going to do, and go do that so that we can actually help progress Black people. Get your ass up.
So let me ask you this. I'm just going to play devil's advocate because, you're making some really good points. It is projected that the Democrats will lose the House. Okay. Do you think that when the Democrats do lose that House, Nancy Pelosi will still be the leader of the Democrats as they go off into the wilderness?
No. If they lose the House, how could she be?
No, the leader, not the Speaker of the House, the leader of the Democrats.
Or Nancy Pelosi's got to be 80 as well, close to it?
No, she's 78, I believe, 78.
So she's close to it. I mean, will she...
Because remember, she was supposed to have brought in younger leadership in the last Congress. Well, she didn't do it.
To answer the question, will she want to do it? Probably not. Will she be forced to do it? Probably not. Because as we know, the freshman class, the progressives, and your AOCs.
We found out that the progressives aren't really progressive. So we found that out.
Yeah, your AOCs and all of those people. I mean, we don't even hear anything from them anymore. They've bought in.
They bought in, right?
So I think if Nancy wants to be the leader, she probably could be.
Yeah. Because let me ask you this: in regards to Nancy Pelosi, they keep saying she's a master legislator could you name for me any legislation that Nancy Pelosi's name is on?
I cannot.
That has fundamentally changed America, or for women's rights, or for things like that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not putting anything as the Speaker of the House. She has championed, because nothing gets to the floor without the Speaker of the House saying so. So she has championed Indian rights, Indian money, Ukrainian money, Dreamers, all that stuff for all these other groups. So without her, Nancy did that. But I'm just saying, they keep calling her a master legislator. And I can't name and find any kind of legislation that she does other than this. And this is what she does for the Democratic Party. And you're aware of this, Demetra. She is the reason why they keep her in leadership position is she is the #1 donor representative. She raises more money than any Democrat in Congress. That is why she is still there.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. It's not only just Black Democrats or Black voters, I guess you could say, that are waking up. It's white ones too. White ones. And I just did a story. It's not up yet on the African Diaspora News Channel, where Asians in San Francisco, they have been holding their people accountable. And I say their people, they're Democrats. They have fashioned a recall against Chesay Bolden. He is the DA there. And they basically said, we met with him and he just kept talking at us, not listening to us. So we've got him in a recall where he has to fight for his position in November. And so they also said this is just more a small view of what we're going to do to the Democrats if they do not continue to help us. Because they feel like they're being ignored, even though they got an anti-Asian hate crime bill. They said that this is the Asians, if the Democrats do not continue to do more for us, then we do something else.
But speaking of the Asians, the K-pop band or whatever, they was with Joe Biden talking about how Asians are being discriminated against and how, something, because like I said, I haven't seen it personally. I'm sure it goes on, but not at the level it's happened to Blacks, because when the Justice Department puts out a letter that says that Black people face more discrimination than anybody else in the United States, and for this K-pop group who aren't even citizens here, I think they're from Korean
pop.
Yeah, Korean pop thing with all the, I'm not saying there's a lot of human rights abuses, but there is a big racism in Korea. There is big colorism in Korea. Believe it or not, if you haven't been there, I've been there. It exists. I thought that was amazing that they could come here and talk about racism when you go to their country and it's like a norm.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, again, they got the power and Black people do not, and that's the question. What are Black people going to do about it? We're going to continue to vote for oppression, as Dr. Claude Anderson said. We are the only group of people who vote as a bloc against our better interests. And so, what are we going to do about it? We're not going to do anything about it. But let me stop. I think that we are doing something about it now. Even just talking about it and waking people up.
Sure.
People are starting to really say, "Wow, you know what? You're right. They're not doing anything for Black people. They've taken us for granted." And so, I don't know. I just think the Democrats not only going to get their ass handed to them by Black people, but they're going to get it from everybody, because there's a lot of white Americans, other Americans who maybe didn't specifically benefit from the Biden administration. I see a lot of white people who are Democrats are mad that he's sending all this money everywhere. And we got these issues here. Gas is high, food is high. Hell, me and my daughter went to the store the other day, and we paid probably 50 more, double than what we would have paid normally for groceries, and we're eating mostly fruits and vegetables.
Right. Remember we talked before the show that if you look at most stores, they've increased their prices by 1/3.
At least
1/3, 30%. They have, and that's across the board. But here's something that it just hit me as we were talking just now, especially about the K-pop group. How the hell did they get a meeting with Joe Biden and Ice Cube hasn't?
Well, they said they did it under the premise of Asian American Pacific Islander Month, Heritage Month is what it was in May. And so that was the end of it. And they were meeting with him to talk about but come on, man, you know why they got it? Because Asians have more solidarity and unity than Black people do.
Right.
And they saw what Black people, specifically Black women, did to Ice Cube when he even talked to Trump.
Right, because I was going to push back on that as well, because we've had Hip Hop Month. We've had Juneteenth is coming up. I mean, you have all these black so-called.
But who did they have in the White House for Hip Hop Month?
Right.
It was, oh shit. Who was it? I don't want to misspeak. I'm gonna look and see, but
but it wasn't Kanye. But what I'm saying is, you got these things, and Ice Cube has still not been invited to the White House. So that would have been a perfect time to talk to him, even if you're going to be jokingly. But wait a minute, you know what? I misspoke, because Joe Biden did speak to Cardi B, who identifies as Dominican, by the way. So, so I'm just saying in regards to that. I mean, we continually keep getting it with no Vaseline, and our elders in my opinion, keep constantly telling us, just take it. Just take it. You'll get used to it. And that's how I feel.
Yeah, well, fortunately, we as Black people, we are starting to wake up, and it's a hard job. I mean, hell, it's been hard for a long time, from the days of Marcus Garvey. He's been trying to wake Black people up. And so I think I feel good about the job that we are doing, especially in new Black media.
Sure.
That Black people are really starting to say, you know what, y'all do make a good point, because, during the height of the 2020 election, the Democrats, I will say this, they did a mastery job of promoting Trump as the boogeyman. Yeah. Oh, Trump, oh gosh, got to get him out of there. This, that, and the other. So everybody fell for it. And, here we are. But the other thing too, I was kind of thinking about Monique and DL, because people are like, oh, well, while we're talking about that of Monique and DL, look at all the things that's going on. I'm like, you know what? Again, I'm going to just say this. I know some people are going to get mad, but I think that Monique is the one. Now, when I say the one, I think she's the one to take DL to task, because DL is also one of those Democratic operatives that tore up Ice Cube and anybody else who thought differently than what the Democrats were putting out. And so I think that he should be taken to task. And I think that he and other people like him should be exposed.
Correct.
So, but anyway, y'all.
But real quickly before we go though, we have all these things that are happening. Things are drastically changing. Today in California, we have the primaries going on, and people are voting. And like you said, I do believe, even though at the local level, it's a referendum, and all these Democratic operatives and Republican operatives are watching, because this is a small litmus test of what it's going to be nationally.
And you think about, the Republicans are total douchebags. Let's just keep it real, right? I mean, they're trying to take us back to the plantation. But even with that, Black people are like, we are already there. So
it can't get any worse. I mean, it can, but it's like, you know what? Even if it does, could have had a V8.
Yeah, I mean, what like this, the Black man said in Los Angeles. I mean, how much worse could it actually be? I mean,
at least for us. I mean, they've already stolen our houses. They don't want to give us any financial assistance. I mean, really, when you're at the bottom, what's that old saying? The only way to go. I think the movie was Richard Pryor. Which way is up? I'm at the bottom of my life, Mr. Man, and the only way for me is up.
Yeah, I mean, and like you said too, I mean, in Los Angeles, homeless population is huge, and it's mostly Black people. And gentrification is bad. I mean, it's bad everywhere, but specifically Los Angeles. Like the guy said, my dog, the cat, the roaches, the rats, my kids, and my wife, we all got to work to live in a one-bedroom, a studio apartment. So, like, how are you going to make life better for Black people, Karen Bass, if Black people go vote for you? You're not going to make it better. You're not even saying you're going to make it better. You keep talking about this black and brown, Black and brown. I've been there for Black and brown. But no.
Yeah, what's your plan?
Brown people are better off than Black people. And you as a Black woman are pissed, and I know she's probably pissed. You're pissed because Black men won't show up for you, but you haven't said what you're going to do for Black people or Black men specifically. So like the guy said, because you're a sweet old lady, we're supposed to show up. Well, that doesn't help me not have to go work 500 jobs so I could put food on the table. So get the hell out of here.
And I really wish women would take a lead from the Black men, and make a stand. Like I said, we need each other. And like I said, I think that if we took a stand as a people and showed them that you guys aren't going to win a damn thing without us. because it's about power, like you said. At the end of the day, it's about holding on to power. And these people are addicted to it. So if we stood together, Black men and Black women, we could make a significant difference and demand that they show us, no, we don't want to hear no promises. We don't want to hear, no. Show us the money. Show us the money.
Well, right now, Black men have the power. In closing, Black men have the power. Y'all got them shook. Keep shaking them up. Pass the word. Tell a brother when y'all in those barbershops, y'all talk about how y'all got them shook, and don't relent until y'all get something. And that's why I kind of disagree with you as far as for Black women to take the lead, because Black women are supposed to be in the backbone of the Democratic Party, and look where that's happening. We the backbone, but we can't even go get an oxtail bone and put on the table for Black people because we so busy caught up in the symbolism. And so Black men, y'all have the power. Get something for it. Y'all, the Democrats are now paying attention to that. They've been ignoring you, and now they see that they have a Black man problem. Now get behind Ice Cube and say, now we want something for our vote.
Absolutely. Remember that video that was on TikTok or Twitter? It was one of those videos where the mom was on there and she was talking to her mother. I told him to vote. I told you to vote Biden. She scared the kid into voting for Biden, because he wanted to vote his conscience and his interests. So we got to get out of that.
Yeah, now tell mom, Mom, I love you, but sit down. Okay,
yeah,
sit down. So anyway, y'all, it has been our pleasure. We are going to get out of here. You guys do have a great evening. We will see y'all tomorrow on Wealth Wednesdays with Walter. We're going to continue the conversation about Biden and his presidency is going to force Black people to be even more reactive. We're already a reactive people. So we're going to talk about how to be proactive. So anyway, y'all, we will see y'all later. Of course, we have a Venmo, Cash App, PayPal. If you want to donate to the channel and think about becoming a member, we would love to have you here. Peace.